Good morning from Chapman's Peak this morning. Just halfway through my cycle, and I've been listening to a guy called Donald Hoffman, and I wanted to just share some of the thinking that he's shared on his TED Talk and some interviews that have just blown my mind. He is a professor of cognitive psychology, philosophy, computer science, and another type of thinking at the University of California, Irvine. And his understanding of our reality has just blown my mind. I want to share his Wikipedia link on this video so you can all check him out. His name is Donald Hoffman. And he's been on Oprah and Deepak Chopra and TED, and he's been all over the place, and his books have now become New York Times bestsellers. And what he says is fundamentally different to what we understand around what reality is. And what he says is this: he says that reality does not exist until we look at it. And I just thought to myself, what do you mean? And the way he explains it is that reality has been created inside us at billionth of a millisecond at a time as we look at it. So together, we all create the reality we look at. And when we don't look at it, it's not there. I mean, how is that so fundamentally different to what we've ever understood? And that gets us to understand that we really don't see things as they are, but we see things as we are. That really lands it for me, because his understanding of computer science and of philosophy, really, that mix really is really interesting. He says that our reality is like a desktop, and every icon on this desktop represents so many different things behind that icon. So think about mail icon, or think about your internet icon. All the things that happen behind that icon, we have no idea about. We just click on an icon, and our reality is pretty much the same. Everything that we're looking at is exactly like an icon on a desktop, with millions, billions, and trillions of things behind it that make it as it is. Now, if we take that concept, then we've got to understand that our belief systems is really what's creating this computer interface. And if we try and understand that and break down the word believe, we'll realize that it's actually be live. And if we understand that be live or belief is what we require to create the reality, we've got to understand that the more we believe it, the more other people will believe it with us, and the more it actually becomes a reality. I was listening to Mark Manson interview about his two books, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F and Everything is Effed, a book about hope. I think he's an excellent author. He's an unbelievable, he has an unbelievable understanding of psychology, and the way he's brought it about in both of his books is mind-blowing. That's why he had New York Times bestseller 1 and 2 at the same time. But what really stood out for me was he, for 8 years, wanted a New York Times bestseller. He believed it so deeply and for so long, and then when it started happening, it actually doubled up, and he had 1 and 2 on New York Times bestseller. Then my business partners and I, Mark, Lisa, and Kiki, have put together a business called Future Self Institute, and we are highly excited about it because we think we're disrupting author-led lectures and interactive courses online, and we don't think anybody's done it like we have, and we're going to be announcing it soon. But Mark said something to me a couple of weeks ago that has also stuck with me, and he said that what we need to do as the 4 partners is believe in the potential of this business so deeply and with such conviction that eventually it becomes a vortex of reality that we have created, and that vortex slowly but surely pulls other people into the same vortex, and the more people start believing the same story, the more it pops up into reality and becomes 3-dimensional, and then we can touch it. So Donald Hoffman, belief, Mark Manson, our ability to create, really starting to become so much more than we first understood it. Because I remember watching The Secret in 2008, and it was about the law of attraction. What you believe is what you bring about. And I remember watching that the first time, and I started crying because I realized that for so long I'd spent so much time in thinking about things I didn't want. And then I started hosting breakfasts at my house. I had must have been dozens of breakfasts at my house where I took people into my home, gave them breakfast into my home. They weren't bergies, they're just my friends. I would buy them breakfast, and then so they could watch The Secret. I must have watched it 40, 50, 60 times so that I could keep watching it all the time. And that belief system was planted then, and now with Donald Hoffman's research of us starting to understand that reality doesn't even exist when we don't look at it. I mean, how beautiful is Chapman's Peak? Soon these videos will be coming from Dubai, but for now and for the next couple of days while I'm still here, lots of love from Cape Town. Ciao.